Hello. If you're viewing this channel, David's Boxes, you've probably connected through the published stories about Kevin Harris, Keelan Harris, and Karen Starr regarding the Ponzi scheme they ran. See the CFTC complaint for a good background on this whole mess. I'll put it up for you just in case this is what you're going to look for on Google or wherever. Anyway, I was at the March 15th sentencing hearing for Kevin Harris in Cleveland. I was there hoping to present to the judge why she should not give such a short sentence as what I had been reading about in the papers. The sentence was in fact not given that day, and so I will continue with this channel, David's Boxes, in the hopes of getting help from others in any way possible toward conveying to the authorities why this type of crime should be or should have harsher penalties. Please return to this channel again and again, as I will add more and more of all types of messages, written word, poems, songs, all said to convey the reasons why this type of crime must be dealt with seriously. Anyway, as I mentioned, I was at the sentence, and this is the statement I made. Hello, Your Honor. My name is whatever my name is, and I'm one of many who have been financially assaulted by the evil of Kevin Harris. I'm not here to burden anyone with whatever misery my family and I have had to endure, as it seems futile trying to compete with the millions of American families also suffering the ravages of today's financial disorder. I'm here for two reasons mainly. First, because there should be a victim of this crime here, perhaps many victims, but we are from a distant city, so that may be excuse enough, but not for me. While this type of crime convinces most to hide beneath a rock and die of shame, I will not stay down, nor will I stay silent. In fact, there is much still to do, as Kevin Harris and his partners were in fact a criminal organization, and the rest of the organization remain in action today, even though the supposed leader of the group has been exposed and awaits a final sentence. The second reason I'm here is because of the criminal's silence. The whole story does not get told. After all, he attempted to plead the fifth in a civil lawsuit we pressed against him, and now he has agreed to his prosecution by information, again without a word. Perhaps this makes him a cooperative defendant, but there is more than just the light sentence he seeks. There are many connected to him that he has certainly not given any details on that should also be investigated. As the criminal remains silent, it is common knowledge that he ran two frauds, mainly one called CDL and the other called I3 Inc. The CFTC civil lawsuit against him sufficiently tells this story. The CFTC civil lawsuit also points out the involvement of the other main players, again in sufficient detail. But the story does not end there. In fact, the two main frauds were supported by other frauds, where others were employed to play key roles. The other frauds were an open house at the CDL headquarters and a debt relief company, eFax Management, fabricated by Kevin Harris and his band of many. I should not, and so I will not, go into the participation of one of his lawyers at the open house fraud. There will be another day for that. Again, I should not, and so will not, go into the participation of still another of his lawyers in the eFax Management fraud, as that too is for another day. But someone needs to bring up the point that there was involvement by lawyers in areas that some would say go well beyond client-lawyer privileges. While both the open house and eFax frauds took place, each of the investors believed that these lawyers legitimized the events. We know a lot more today that we did not know then, while we still question how these lawyers could have put themselves in such questionable areas, knowing full well their friend and client, Kevin Harris, had an extensive criminal past, that their friend and client, Keelan Harris, also had an extensive criminal past, that their client, CDL, was being sued for fraud by an elderly widow who was trying to reclaim her dead husband's pension. The lawyers knew of all of this. Anyway, who does this type of thing? Let's try to understand that phrase. When I look at my own life, it is by trialing and succeeding that I go on to the next level in life, with the confidence gained by past successes. And so everyone does this, and so we become what we become. How did Kevin Harris become who he became? What went on in his head besides the basis of his character, which has always been that of a criminal? A thief thief who will take from any man, woman, or child, especially the more vulnerable, widows, the elderly, the disabled, even the disabled child. Anyway, as any man builds to the point that he becomes his strongest self. If that man were to reflect, he would come to understand that it was through many attempts and trials that he arrived there. That every next step or every next attempt was based on the success of the previous attempt, but just a little bolder. That every next attempt was started from the self-talk statement of, why would I do this? To which he would answer, because I can. Because I can in Kevin Harris's world is because of the support and counseling he has received. Because I can is I have stewards, coaches, counselors, advocates who have and will continue to work for me in their place of expertise. And through these counselors, I have been given the keys to play with the very thing I continually challenge, justice. So here I am challenging justice over and over again, and nothing has stopped me yet. So I challenge all the more, ever bolder. Why? Because I can. Justice be damned. Scary, isn't it, the combination of the criminal coupled to the expertise of a lawyer? Because I can is the conclusion Kevin Harris came to when he decided to perpetuate the fraud of CDL. Because I can when he decided not to return the money to the first lawsuit by an elderly widow against CDL. Because I can when he decided to host the CDL open house fraud. Because I can when he decided to start the next currency trading outfit of I3 Inc. Because I can when he decided to establish the fraud of eFax management, complete with his majestic employees and a lawyer to verify every program the broken victims had signed. Because I can is always my statement, and it's because of the company I keep and the access they grant me whenever I need them, lawyers. I love this team as I am great and untouchable. After all, Brother Keelan and I have been through the courts over 70 times, and hardly a thing we could not handle. So Kevin Harris has learned a lot, and so the criminal has gained access to the very system he challenges over and over again. This criminal, with such easy access to the courthouses of America, has shown that freedoms, while twisting law and order, are achievable, and better still, they are rewarding. A freedom to steal and get away with it by the support of the lawyers and the access they offer. Access. The one thing about access is that once you experience access, you will not let it go. You will always come back to it. With a short sentence, we should all fear he will come back and resume his place in the courtrooms. The longest sentence possible will ensure this forever enterprising criminal never again employs a lawyer to advocate against those less prepared for the frustrations of the legal system. Freedom and a just society require a never-ending vigilance so that even criminal lawyer setups get rooted out as quickly as they become apparent. Of course, there are client-lawyer privileges that must be respected. Both those applied here require investigation. Your Honor, in regards to criminals, it's usually cleaning up the streets, but in this case, or in the case of Kevin Harris, it's cleaning up the courtrooms. Let us be very careful as to the sentence served, for there are many watching, as is the whole nation through the Operation Broken Trust, U.S. attorney-led initiative. They're also watching. The two fugitives are also watching. One of which is his brother, his first pupil in the exploits of the legal system. And finally, others watching are those who see him as some sort of hero, just waiting to follow in his ways, and they will certainly follow. I certainly don't want to be here or have my name connected to a criminal for the rest of my life, but no one needs such filth, but unfortunately here I am. While I'm connected through my ignorance of this criminal's past, the lawyers are also forever connected, but they had complete understanding and knowledge of this criminal's past. They had complete understanding of his brother's criminal past, and yet they still connected willingly. I will end with an oath of no silence. Silence I will not and cannot stay, as the fight must continue. I cannot end with only or it cannot end with only one part of the criminal organization brought down and put away. There is no single fall guy, as the rest of the team, all equal members, must fall too. There will be no silence of this story just because the criminals want silence. There will be no silence because of shame, and there will be no silence from me just because some have accepted defeat. The words must continue to pour, that the words must continue that the unraveling of the story is not over. And I suppose that's all I'm going to say right now. But again, please return to this channel over and over again, as there will be more and more. Thank you.